Our guest today is Dr. Laura Hobbs. Good morning, Dr. Laura Hobbs.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, you called yesterday, and it's funny because I just talked to somebody about, hey, do you have your contact information? And then you called yesterday, and that just made it a lot easier. Dr. Hobbs is running for Supervisor, 2nd District. So good morning.
Good morning. That's right. I'm running for Supervisor in the 2nd District. I live there. Unlike my opponents that are running, I didn't move into the district to run for Supervisor. My sister and her family also lives in District 2, and my mother lives in District 2 as well.
Speaking to the mic is
okay.
what not you. You're okay. It was Trish because you're a little back a little bit far. Okay. Well, Laura, tell us about you.
All right. Well, I got my PhD in microbiology many years ago, about 10 years ago, and since then Why?
Yeah.
I became passionate about microbiology. I finished my bachelor's a little bit later in life, but I found as a more mature student, I was a better student. I was more able to focus. I was more able to devote my time and my passion towards that, and I had a genuine curiosity about the subject matter, and in particular I was interested in the gut microbiota.
Okay, the gut microbiota.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
And what do you do with this knowledge?
Yeah, I mean...
Well, currently, I'm,
is it like
as I said, I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Is it like diseases or things
well,
like that?
It could be diseases, but everybody has gut microbiota.
Right.
And it can be also to your benefit. So I was interested in looking at the complex microbial communities and how they interacted for immune development. So for my postdoc, I actually worked in an immunology lab. And I studied the interaction there between the microbiota and the immune system development.
Oh.
Okay, so Carl, I'm going to take just a step back for one moment and remind everyone, if we can, exactly what District 2 is. I know that sounds repetitive, but because they've changed the line, so many people I talk to people all the time, and they're like, I have no idea what district I'm in. I used to be in District 2, but now I'm in District 5.
I used to be in 1, now I'm in 2.
So explain give us our boundaries.
Okay, so it starts south towards 273 in Gervan, and there's a little bit of Happy Valley, not the Olinda area anymore, but as you go north, but still west of the 273, it goes through Igo-Ono and all the way up to Keswick. It also encompasses the Buenaventura area. And then on the south side, it goes from Breslauer and on down. It's both west and east of the 5 freeway near South Bonneview, and it also encompasses all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, it encompasses that area, and the Churn Creek Bottom area.
That's the Churn Creek Bottom area?
Yes.
Is in District 2
now. There's more than that. It comes all the way down Placer Street to Court Street.
And French Gulch is still in District 2.
Yes.
Yeah, well, but on Placer Street,
wow.
Yeah,
I've got to look at the map.
It's Placer Street and a few blocks on either side of it, though, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It catches us, and then it ends right at Court Street.
I guess the point.
It's a weird. How do they draw that?
Very, very explicitly by people that lived where they lived, but. I would say to people that you need to be sure that you're looking at a map and find out what district you're in.
Yeah.
It's an important election, and so make sure you know where, in fact, you're registered.
Yeah, somebody told me.
So you can pay attention to who your candidates are.
Last election, somebody told me, oh, no, you're in 2nd District now. And I had to go check it, and they were right. So, okay, who's moved into the district? You said one of your opponents doesn't live in the district?
Suzanne Barrymore, and also Dan Sloan, I believe he was one of those folks that got redistricted, so he's had to change address to actually compete in this contest.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
So,
but I may have other opponents that I don't know of yet. The
I
deadline is
haven't
December
heard it.
8th.
Yeah, I haven't heard it yet.
Because the incumbent isn't running.
That's correct.
So it extends it.
And Tim Garman is the incumbent.
Exactly. Is the
And he
incumbent.
can't find a house. He's tried, from what I understand, he tried a couple of times to buy a house, didn't make it, so he can't run now.
Okay.
So, okay, let's take a break. Trish and I are here with Dr. Laura Hobbs, who is running for District 2 Supervisor, where she's going to try and figure out the inner workings of the Board of Supervisors if she wins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why did you decide to run?
Well, I decided I'm 100% MAGA Republican. I supported Trump in 2016, 2020. I felt there was something wrong with the election, and so I started to investigate. I started asking for the data from county clerks and started using my ability to analyze large data sets to look at election data. And that became my passion since 2020, is looking at the election data. I didn't feel like we had any really strong candidates in that area and any very good representation for District 2. Although I applaud Patrick Jones as the chairman and our board majority for voting to get rid of the Dominion machines, I feel like our board composition is in a tenuous moment where it could go either way with this upcoming election on March the 5th. And so I wanted to ensure that we can continue with the good work that the board has already done in that area.
That's a strong statement.
Yeah. Was the Shasta County elections rigged?
It depends on which one you're speaking of. I did a report which I submitted to the sheriff. I did over 50 different election contest comparisons, and some of them were, some of them weren't. I would say the majority of them were. Do you have a specific one that you're curious about?
Well, I remember Patrick Jones saying that, he was winning, but he didn't win by as big a majority as he thought he was going to win.
I did see fraud in his 2020 election, and there were cheating. There was cheating against him, and he won despite the fraud. So,
what happened when you took this to the sheriff's office?
Basically nothing so far that I know of. I mean, they may have started an investigation and have yet to get back to me, but that was in September.
So, how did the fraud happen?
That's a good question. It's computer. It could only happen with computer manipulation. And in some cases, I believe the county clerks may not even be aware of it. I don't think that really stands anymore now that the data has been out there and been published.
Well, that's what the guy came in and said, that how they could be rigged. I can't remember his name, but he said it's not the county. It doesn't have to be the county clerk or anybody in there. It could be somebody in a van sitting outside. That's what his premise was.
And I think that we're finally, because these cases, everybody keeps saying none of the cases have ever been upheld, because none of them have ever been through the judicial process. Just recently across the United States, some of these are actually starting to be heard, and boom, all of a sudden they're starting to say, you know what? When you really look at the evidence, there was fraud, there was manipulation, there are questions that need to be answered. So I think in time, all of this is going to be exposed, but going forward, we just need to figure out how to avoid and have honest elections. I don't think any of us are wanting to sway it. We just want to know that our vote counts.
And that it was fair. Yeah.
And that it was fair.
Well, so the state made it impossible to vote by hand or count all the ballots by hand. So we've got a new system in there. Dominion's out and something else is in. So is that one also a problem?
Absolutely. It's Hart InterCivic. I've witnessed the November 7th election and their logic and accuracy testing. They told me they were using 55 ballots of an unknown composition to test the accuracy. When I saw the report the following day with Joanna, the deputy ROV, I looked at the report and counted the number of ballots they actually used in their logic and accuracy testing. They used 28 ballots of unknown composition to certify that the Hart InterCivic Verity 3.1 was counting our votes accurately.
So they used 28 instead of 54.
54, and it didn't even count the actual votes, like, say, 55% for Camille and 45 for Casey. It didn't count the composition of the votes, so that's why I said it's unknown composition. So there are a number of different issues. I don't want to focus entirely on that because I have a lot of
other things to talk about. But
you can't be a one-trick pony on this one. So,
I agree,
as they say. Not that you are.
Go forward with other things you'd like us to know about.
So what's the next thing? What are some of the things you would like to accomplish?
Well, I have a number of different issues that I'm concerned about. One is the budget. I witnessed the last budget hearing they had I believe it was in June of last year, and it seemed to me it was a 2-day process. There were no line items, and it seemed to me like it was a rubber stamping of the county budget. I would like to see line items in our budget. For instance, the ROV recently, and not to go back to that again, but she installed a 7-foot wrought iron fence in the Market Street ROV office, and it cost the county $25,000. So there's things like that where I feel like the taxpayers should know where our money is being sent and have a say in it.
Okay, so you said there's no line items when there's a great, huge book, and it was in line items.
Well, I'll just tell you what I observed as a citizen watching the meeting. An individual would come up from their department and talk about how they spent the money the previous year and how that differed from this year. And there was in their presentation, there was no exact amount for each item. It was broad categories.
Yeah, but so, I would think that in the budget they would have it by line. But I could be wrong.
And I don't know because I haven't.
How did it used to be?
It used to be we got the entire budget book.
Yeah.
Which we got several weeks before the actual, the preliminary budget. You got the preliminary budget book. And then they'd have budget hearings. And then we'd come up with the proposed budget, and then we'd have the final budget in later on. But it's a huge book. What is line item?
Well,
but in their staff report, they probably didn't. I don't know that the last hearings that I've watched, the board doesn't examine or ask questions as they
there's nobody asking difficult questions. It feels to me like it's just a rubber stamping. Another area that I think we could work on as a county is doing a full forensic audit of our budget and of the workings and efficiency of the county. I'm concerned also that our county is designated as a suburban county, which enables the executives to obtain higher salaries, but the lower level employment, they have a lot of vacancies at that level. And I feel like our county is most likely more accurately described as a rural county. And if we were, in fact, classified as such, we might be able to build up the lower level, the entry-level workforce and provide more services for the community.
Okay. Hang on. We got to take a break here.
Okay.
I know this thing has come up before about the suburban rural. And has anybody done anything about this?
Not to my knowledge. I sense that the people who are benefiting from this aren't likely to want to do much about it, but I haven't looked into it yet.
But the Board of Supervisors themselves, they don't benefit by it. So it seems to me as the ones that are incumbent in there, the incumbents, that they would be doing something, but nothing that you know of has happened yet.
Yeah, there could be something happening.
The current board has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that we're a suburban county.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, that was done previously, and it's an interesting concept.
But can't you change it? I mean, you can change it.
I think that absolutely.
It's worth taking a look at.
I think
okay.
So.
We're here with Dr. Laura Hobbs. Trish and I are who is running for Board of Supervisors, 2nd District. She's concerned about the budget. She's concerned about the fact that we are still considered a suburban county instead of a rural. She thinks that we need to take a real close look at how we elect people here, and is a self-professed Make America Great Again.
Make Shasta great again.
Make Shasta, so we're, let me see, Mizga. Mizga. We're a Mizga. Now, okay, keep going. You've got a whole list of things you'd like to accomplish here.
I'm also concerned about water rights. I'm aware of what happened to the Knighton residents in the lower part of my district. I don't know if you know, but what happened was the county water board saw that they were running low on water resources, and instead of purchasing more water for them, they sold their last remaining portion. They sold the water rights, and the people had to either vacate their home or buy private water. And this should never happen in a county like ours where we have bountiful water resources.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, that's acid.
But the acid canal. Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Acid canal thing.
So
but that whole board's changed, though.
And that's a good thing, and I'm hoping for the better. But those are things that affected my district that I would fight for strongly. And another area that I cannot not mention is the homelessness. We saw what Newsom did when he cleared out the streets of San Francisco for his Chinese friends. He didn't need any new laws to do that. He simply enforced the laws that were already on the books. And we as a county decided a long time ago that public camping was not okay in our county. And I want to know, why aren't these laws being enforced? And it's not that I don't think the rank and file is doing a good job. I think they probably are doing a good job. There's a hierarchy in that system, though, for all law enforcement. So you have to look at where the orders are coming from. What are the orders? And it seems to be a problem that's not just specific to Shasta County. It's all throughout the state of California and all throughout the United States. So that's something that I would be concerned with and try to address.
There certainly is a way to do it, and I think that the city of Anderson has proven that. They have the same laws. They've got some interesting ordinances that the other areas could do. And if you enforce them, it makes a difference.
Chico just started cleaning up camps, and the whole thing comes down to, do you have enough spots for the people when you move them? And in Chico, they do now. So, and including ones who can't go to those places because they've been banned from them for their behavior. So I'd be interested to know what's happening to those people that they clean up those streets. Well, same thing with here. I mean, we move people around, we clean up these camps, but then they just kind of filter back in.
Well, you can make their life miserable enough that they simply move on if they refuse to take help.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And also with our county jail, there are some people that will refuse help and continue to disobey the law, and we need to have a place to house them in our county jail. So that's an issue of concern to me as well, and I think the sheriff is working on getting that going. However, it seems to be taking way longer than I would expect to not have staffing. They have a whole floor of the jail that is vacant because they say they can't staff it.
Well, it's open now.
It's open. They just opened it. Okay.
At Thanksgiving, he said he would have it open by Thanksgiving, and he had 2/3 of it open and almost the rest of it. So yes.
Well, that's good. Issues like that are issues that I'm concerned with. So yeah, I those are my main issues. Do you have any questions for me on that?
Well, I mean, we have supervisors in there right now. What about the new jail? What's your feelings on the new jail?
Well, I think it's good as long as we have the staffing. As we found in this most recent episode, it's great to have a location, but if you can't even staff it, then what's the point of having a new jail? You need to have the staffing first and foremost. You need to have an attractive salary and attractive.
So you'd be in favor of raising the salaries of the sheriffs and the sheriff's department and the correctional people.
Yeah, and definitely at the lower ranks, they deserve a raise.
Okay.
So
I saw where Chico, or what county is that?
Butte.
Butte County is their construction permits are like 5 times the amount of Shasta County. Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that. I've heard a lot of people complain about the fees that are charged here in Shasta County.
Yeah, well, the Butte County has their construction permits. Now, part of it could be Paradise, but it's always been a lot more than Shasta County. Mm. And I saw that fact the other day, and it had the graphs and all that, and I was wondering, wonder why that is. The permitting department, Public Works, and all of these, how Butte County can have 5 times, 6 times as many permits pulled as we do. There must be something in this.
Yeah, go ahead. I think a forensic audit would be a good thing to figure that part out as well, because the fees and the schedules are all tied to the nexus reports that they do that prove that the fee is not in fact a tax. The fee is attached to a service that's rendered. And so we need to go back and look at the nexus reports that are due every 5 years, as well as the yearly reports, to make sure that the fees being charged in this county are commensurate with the service provided.
And I think what you're going to find is that, in fact, those nexus reports have not been done since they determined that they were a suburban county. That's just a guess.
Okay.
Really? Oh. Well, we're here with Dr. Laura Hobbs, who's running for. Wait, just let me finish. She's running for District 2 Supervisor. There's 3 people running. Now we've had all 3 on, and we're going to have them on again a couple of times before the March primary. And if any one of them gets over 50%, then that's it, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, but with 3 people, I doubt that will happen.
Okay, I want to go back to what you stated about Chico.
Yeah.
Are you indicating that their fees are higher, or that they're pulling more permits?
They're pulling 5 times as many permits.
Okay.
As not fees.
Different.
Okay.
5 times as many permits as we are here in Shasta County, and has been for years.
Okay.
And I was wondering why. That's a good question when that was raised. And
part of it is the fee structure, and that's the point, because that part of the whole thing we were talking about earlier about the suburban allows you, and they did the nexus study when they determined they were going to have a population of 225 or upwards of 225,000. They were able to increase the fees based on that nexus study. Now, we haven't done that, but our fees are, in fact, according to what has been said, are way high. And if you listen to the people, the contractors, and what they talk about that. I mean, there's large companies in the state who simply will not even consider doing business in Shasta County because of our fee structure is so much higher than is appropriate for the area.
Exactly.
These are the allegations. Certainly a nexus report and a study would be interesting.
When Patrick Jones comes on, I'm going to ask him about that. What's going on with this, Patrick? Mm-hmm. So do you think the Board of Supervisors are doing a good job?
Absolutely. I have been.
After everything you just said?
After everything, the fact is that we have the majority right now with Patrick's leadership, and I think Patrick is doing an excellent job. I continue to be impressed with him. It's quite frankly amazing, the work that he's been able to accomplish despite all the adversity that he's faced. And I've been a little disappointed by the supervisor in District 2's leadership. I haven't really had much representation from him, so that's again part of why I'm running. And I feel that we as citizens, I kind of feel like we're in desperate times in this country, and Shasta County is facing ever more statewide restrictions with the passing of AB 969 and then new laws that are going to try to force through the Fountain Wind project despite the county's objections.
Let's talk about that. We've got to take a break.
Okay.
Our guest is Dr. Laura Hobbs, who's running for District 2 Supervisor, has all these things that she's concerned about, and a lot of them I'm kind of concerned about, too. The latest, of course, in state overreach is the fact that a couple years ago, the County Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors thoroughly turned down the request to build wind towers up in the Round Mountain, Bernie, up in that area. After that, the state of California passed a law, AB 205 or something like that.
Yep, 205 and 209.
And it said, well, you don't have the right to say that anymore. This is all going to come from the state. And so as soon as that law was passed, the Fountain Wind Project applied again, and they had their very first meeting Tuesday, I think, at the Gaia Hotel, and it lasted for like 5 hours. People from both sides were there. The county then said they're going to sue the state, along with the Pitt River Tribe. Said, we're suing the state because you have no standing here, and you can't just override the wishes of the community and the elected officials. So,
absolutely, I support that. I want Shasta to defend its sovereignty. I think we have to, with the way our state government is going. It's tyrannical control over the local government, and I believe that our California Constitution protects our plenary rights as a county the way that it's written. That gives the county the authority to make laws for how they want to self-govern. So,
okay, but they just passed a law that says we can't do a hand counting.
Right. The California Constitution has many amendments, and then they also keep adding laws day by day, more and more laws. But and
until they're challenged in court, the counties don't have any alternative other than to do that. They're challenging this and saying, no, you don't have the authority to do that, no matter what the law is.
They are on the towers. I think they got standing in the towers thing, frankly. And, I mean...
The state does?
No, I think the county does. I think the county's got a standing here is that, hey... however, the fact is that we're on that way to renewable energy. I have, and there is land being taken, BLM land that used to be used for ranchers and farmers, and now are being used for solar farms. The impact that has on the environment. But we're going down that path, and the state obviously is concerned that every county would then say, no, you're not going to put a solar farm there. Then what happens?
Well, like we said, file a lawsuit. In the case of AB 969, file a temporary injunction so that we can conduct elections the way that we want to.
Okay. I ask everybody this. What's your stance on the Second Amendment?
I absolutely
Even though that this is a federal
Amendment
thing, but it's nice to know what the candidates think.
I support it 100%, the right to keep and bear arms. I think it's one of those pillars.
Semi-automatic rifles?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. I think it's one of those pillars that our democratic, our whole republic is built upon. So, for instance, of all the amendments, the Second Amendment is probably the most important because when you go look at other countries that don't have the Second Amendment, like, for instance, England, they also don't have the First Amendment. You can get put in jail for a social media post.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I feel that because we have the Second Amendment, we are able to also have the First Amendment and the other amendments because we can defend ourselves.
They were pretty bright back then. And like Australia or Canada does not have an amendment like that, and they had their guns confiscated.
There you go.
And then, of all places, Israel, you couldn't own a gun. Well, they changed that law after October 7th. Laurel, what kind of campaign group do you have behind you? This is not an inexpensive election. So,
right.
what kind of support do you have? Are you tapping into the new PAC, that reversion Selmo? Did you see that? Loaded up with money again?
I did.
Okay.
Well, it's the same PAC.
It's the same PAC, right? People who use water or something like that. So do you have funds to run on this, or is this just going to be all really grassroots?
It's mostly grassroots. I will accept campaign donations from a Virgin Selmo if he wishes to donate. And I feel like this is, for me, I believe strongly in we the people, so it is from the bottom up. I'm not doing this because I'm part of the political elite or I have political ambitions. I don't fancy myself as a politician.
Well, you are now.
But once you run for that is the title, and not all politicians are bad.
No, they're not. Yeah. But I just want to tell everybody when they say, well, I don't see myself as a politician, but you are now. And I'm sorry, but that's...
But I'm still a citizen. I'm a member of the community. I'm somebody who can answer questions straight. I won't...
You won't be a millionaire.
I won't dodge your questions. I'll give you a straight answer.
Hey, do you know... you go to every one of the Board of Supervisors meetings. Has anybody brought up the illegal, the people coming across the border situation? Do we have any arriving in Shasta County? Have you heard anything about that?
I did hear a testimony from one citizen. She said that somebody had given her a phone call and was telling her to wait for them and they would be dropped off at some undisclosed location and she was going to pick them up. But it's not substantiated. It's anecdotal. But that is my concern, is that
I was just wondering
people would be bused to this county and dropped off.
But they've got to be dropped off to they've got to be dropped off at a location where people are there waiting for them. So I was just wondering, has that happened?
I'm not sure,
I have no idea.
I think we should have eyes on the ground looking out for that because that's something they don't do in broad daylight. From what I understand and from what I've seen online is a lot of times they bring them in the middle of the night so that there are no witnesses.
Oh.
So Carl, we're about out of time. How do they get a hold of you?
Yes.
Well, you can go to my website, which is www.votelaurahobbs.com. I want to also invite everybody this Saturday, December 2nd, 3 to 5 p.m. I'll be hosting an open mic town hall meeting at the library, which is 1100 Parkview Avenue. Everyone's welcome to come and ask me any questions they have.
And on her website, you can listen to what Laura said about Shasta's sovereignty. Watch your debate or opponent at the GOP debate. Report to the sheriff, and that. Okay.
And
is there a phone number or anything like that? A Facebook page? Or?
I also have the main election website, which is www.shastaelectionnews.org, and you can contact me personally at dr.dr.laura, LAURAHOBBS, at protonmail.com.